aspect in terms of really addressing the root cause of the problem. You know, what is really causing your diabetes or your hypertension or that back pain that you have for the longest while, or that situation with headaches, or maybe problems with blurred vision, or even loss of memory. All right, so that's what we're going to discuss today. Interestingly, we're going to discuss that particular aspect associated with circulation, poor circulation. We're going to touch on diabetes a bit, because diabetes continues to be a major hurdle and issue that we have to actually deal with in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean and the world at large. But of course, dealing with Trinidad and Tobago numbers where diabetes are concerned, we're not really looking too well. Our adolescent diabetes numbers are significantly higher when you look at us per capita compared to our first world counterparts. When you look at our aspects associated with even adolescent obesity, which of course is strongly linked, because obesity is always closely linked to diabetes. Because if you are obese, morbidly obese at that, your likelihood of developing diabetes is significantly, moved up to a much higher percentile, as opposed to if it is you carry a healthy weight. So that's some of the things we're going to discuss this afternoon, rather. Of course, keep in mind our clinic telephone numbers, which we'll give you a little bit of information on that in a bit. Keep in mind our social media information. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT, and on YouTube, we are Batson and Associates Trinidad. So as it relates to circulation, just a quick biology lesson, for want of a better expression. We know what blood circulation is. Blood is primarily responsible for two things in the body: the transportation of oxygen and nutrients to cells, and it is also responsible to an extent for the removal of waste in some aspects of the body. Now, when we look at, if we were to attach all the blood vessels in the human body, we know we have three types: your arteries, which are the largest in diameter, then your veins, then your capillaries. The arteries, of course, are more elastic as opposed to, not the arteries, sorry, the veins, sorry, are more elastic than the arteries. However, if you were to join all those blood vessels, they would actually be able to make the circumference of the Earth 2.5 times, which is 66,000 miles. So you realize how extensive the circulatory system is in the body. Further to that, we have two types of circulation primarily in the body. We have systemic circulation, which is below the heart, and we have pulmonary circulation, which is above the heart. All right, and then we also have circulation in the extremities, which is to the further extremities of the body, primarily what is referred to as microcirculation. So with that being said, it is very important that we are able to determine or understand when we may have issues associated with poor circulation. So how is it, or how are you able to recognize poor circulation in the body? And there are a number of ways. You may have problems with persistent headaches. That could be an indication of poor circulation. Problems with your eyes. So all of a sudden you may be experiencing blurred vision, or you may have been diagnosed with glaucoma, which primarily is high ocular pressure in the eyes. You have two types of glaucoma. You have open-angled and closed-angled glaucoma. But a lot of those instances actually show poor circulation in the body. Another issue which shows some aspect of poor circulation in the body as well is hypertension. Now, we know hypertension is high pressure in the arteries. You also have something known as pulmonary hypertension, which of course it has to do with pulmonary circulation primarily. And again, is a very dangerous form of hypertension and a clear indication of poor circulation, especially in the cerebral hemisphere, because it makes it much easier for you to experience things like ischemia. And ischemia is the term given to lack of blood flow to the brain where you have absence of oxygen for a certain period of time. So for example, if someone actually has a stroke, you have various types of stroke. You have ischemic stroke, which is going to be a stroke where lack of blood flow to the brain, and as a result of the lack of blood flow, you have lack of oxygen, and that would have resulted in some sort of damage to the brain or some aspect of the brain. And in turn, a stroke like that could cause problems, depending on the part of the brain it affects. It could cause problems with cognitive function, speech, mobility, and that type of thing. Then you have what is referred to as an ischemic stroke, hemorrhagic rather. And hemorrhagic strokes are primarily bleeding strokes where, again, problem with circulation in the brain. But as a result of that now, you have some sort of rupturing of the blood vessels. And as a result of that, you now have bleeding strokes. It could even reach the point of where you actually have what are known as brain aneurysms. And that, of course, is an indication of poor circulation. So, someone listening to this might want to know, well, okay, well, how do I know if I have poor circulation? And there are a number of ways, as I said. There are clear indicators in the body, as I said. If you have frequent headaches, there are some people who are actually diagnosed with migraine headaches. And I always tell people, if you're having headaches for years, something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. That shouldn't be happening. A lot of times it has a lot to do with proper circulation or lack of proper circulation to the cerebral hemisphere, which is primarily the brain. So with that being said, at Batson Associates, one of the things we try to help our clients and patients to understand is, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's as it relates to certain aspect of anatomy and physiology. So hydration is something that I would have spoken about on numerous occasions. Are you drinking sufficient amounts of water? And there's actually a rule for drinking water where you're supposed to drink actually your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. So if you weigh 160 pounds, half of 160 is 80. Essentially, minimally for the day, you should have at least 80 ounces of water, which converted to liters would bring you about something like maybe about 1.8, 2.5 liters, somewhere around there. And that should give you an indication of the intake of water that you should have on a daily basis. Good. Let me, of course, remember that the program is interactive. So I will come back over to you so that you could actually remind the listeners of the WhatsApp number and the numbers to call in case they may have any questions as regards to health or, the general discussion that we're having.
Definitely. So, of course, for our listeners, you are invited to call with your questions. 625-2257. Those are our studio numbers. And you could also send us your messages on WhatsApp, 306-1065, right here on Freedom 106.5. We have Dr. Batson here with us on the program. And Dr. Batson, you spoke about earlier on, you spoke about being morbidly obese.
Right.
Can you give us some idea in terms of what exactly that is, in terms of the differentiation between just being overweight or obese, and then you have morbidly obese?
Very good question. And the thing is, when you are being told that you're morbidly obese, it's a matter where there's actually classifications for obesity. So you have what they now call class 3 obesity, which was formerly known as morbid obesity. So what they have done, the World Health Organization has actually changed what they term morbidly obese and is now actually class 3 obesity. So they look at BMI. So if your body mass index is 40 or higher, it means that you're experiencing some aspect of morbid obesity. So the BMI is taken into consideration, which we know is our body mass index. But more importantly, you also need to look at what is known as your body composition. Because you see, the thing is, BMI, if you look at BMI without getting too in-depth, if you look at BMI according to ethnicity, so for example, if you look at Asian people, Asian persons or individuals of that ethnicity, they usually carry very low BMIs. They tend to be very slim, what we refer to as small frame individuals. Now, the thing is, when you go to the other ethnicities, you have difference where the BMI is concerned, because Asians normally would say BMI anywhere in the vicinity of 18 to about 23. The American standards, they go somewhere up to like 25 to 27. But as I said, what you have to look at is your body composition. So there are 2 types of fat in the body that you look at. You look at what is known as visceral fat. And visceral fat is organ fat. It's the most unhealthy type of fat to have in the body. If memory serves me correctly, your visceral fat should not be over 8%. It should always be under 8%. When you have visceral fat actually consists or produces inflammatory chemicals. So it actually produces what is known as inflammatory chemicals such as prostaglandins, cytokines. And these inflammatory chemicals actually contribute to further sickness and diseases and that type of thing. And that's why at the genesis of the conversation, I was saying, usually if you are obese, the likelihood of you developing diabetes is significantly increased because that visceral fat and that fat composition or body composition is one that actually increases the likelihood of you developing a number of diseases: high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular problems, musculoskeletal problems, so things like arthritis and that type of thing. So what you would want to do, and this is something that we do at Batson Associates, there's a particular scan that we do known as a magnetic resonance analysis. Now, all living organisms have frequency, every aspect. Resonance is vibrational matching. So everything has vibration and frequency. So what that actually does is, by using weak magnetic waves, it actually sends weak magnetic waves through the body, and based on the frequency, it now is able to give you a breakdown or a readout of your visceral fat, your what is known as subcutaneous fat, which is the next type of fat, and most importantly, your body mass index, which is we're going to take into consideration. However, that body composition as it relates to muscle to fat is what you need to take into consideration. So I always tell persons, when you're looking at your weight, always try and pay more attention to your body composition as it relates to your visceral fat, subcutaneous fat in terms of knowing your numbers, and then of course what your muscle composition is. Your muscle composition is always supposed to be higher than specific aspect of fat composition in the body. Now, you'll need fat for a number of things, fuel and that type of thing. But to the point where you are now obese, or you're carrying a higher level of visceral fat, that is when it becomes dangerous. So, that's where your various types of scales, various types of analysis would come in. And once you realize that your visceral fat is excessive, then it is within your best interest to work on that, because, as I said, once you are obese, and then if you fall in class 3 morbid obesity, it means the likelihood of you developing, you have now created an environment that is conducive to accelerated damage and disease in the body. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dr. Batson. There's some other questions coming in. Good afternoon, Dr. Batson. Can glaucoma be cured outright? What can be done to help if a person has glaucoma?
Okay, good. So in the world of medicine, which could be a very controversial world, so you have to be very careful what you're saying and how you're saying it, right? So cure is a word that should never be used by anyone, because that basically is a litigious word. You could end up in court for that. So we would not use the word cure. What we would say is, if someone has glaucoma or any issue, glaucoma, cataract, detached retina, you have cardiovascular problems, you might be diagnosed with angina, you may have some sort of cardiomyopathy. The list is long, because we have over 55,000 named diseases. I think the last time I checked the reference that they have, I think we're up to maybe about 65,000. You're getting a new disease every day, especially cancer and different types of cancer. So the question should be, can you correct or reverse the damage of a particular disease in the body? And the answer is yes. So when we're looking at, so we wouldn't say cure, we're not using cure. So when we look at glaucoma, we know glaucoma is high ocular pressure in the eyes. So the ocular pressure in human eyes is supposed to be anywhere in the vicinity. Comfortably, if you're about 9, anywhere between 9 to 15, you are comfortable in the right eye or the left eye. You're good there. When you start to go up beyond 15, and you're starting to go into 20s and things, you're in problems, because of course we know what pressure is. Your basically your eye itself has what is known as vitreous humor, which is primarily liquid. Good. So the thing is, the pressure in the eyes cannot pass a certain point, because obviously when pressure increases, you have what? Damaging of blood vessels, you have stretching of blood vessels, a number of things can happen. So if your glaucoma is really, really bad, you could end up in a situation where you would be blind. There's a condition known as diabetic retinopathy, which is bleeding behind the eyes, or detachment of the retina, which is usually suffered by persons who are diabetic. However, you may not necessarily be a diabetic, and you can have detached retina, okay? But the point is, the correction can take place, and based on a number of things. Diet is very important. That's one of the things we do at Batson Associates. We're going to give you a proper diet, because a lot of persons do not understand. Good sir, why am I forgetting your name? Is Navin, you said it is? Govin, my apologies. Yeah, Govin. So they don't understand that, okay, you need to be able to look at, as I said, hydration. So it's very important for you to be hydrated. You remember your body is 70% water. But the point I'm making is that there are a lot of foods that you eat that may be contradicting the journey that you're on or what you're attempting to accomplish. Because a lot of persons go in, if it is you want to lose weight, right? I'm just saying, you're gonna maybe go on a diet, you're gonna start to change certain things, you might start to take a walk around the savannah, you might start to drink more water, you might eat more vegetables. You understand what I'm saying? Because you for yourself, based on the knowledge that you already have and your awareness, you know, okay, I need to change what I'm doing to improve, to improve the results. So the same applies to persons who are even chronically sick. So even if you have diabetes, glaucoma, that type of thing. One of the things I realized in most of the glaucoma patients that I have ever had any interaction with, consultation, whatever the case may be, is a lot of the time glaucoma sufferers are dehydrated people. They do not drink sufficient amounts of water. And as a result of that, that is one of the major contributory factors to glaucoma. Another thing persons need to look at is the intake of caffeine. You know, we have a lot of caffeinated beverages on the market, and a lot of people, okay, you want a little energy. One of the most notorious is coffee. A lot of people, you know, okay, you want energy, you drink a cup of coffee. There are some people who drink 5-6 cups of coffee for the day. But the thing is, coffee, as much as it may have some particular benefits attached to it, like with everything else, it should not be abused. Because coffee naturally is a diuretic. What is a diuretic? A diuretic is any substance that causes your body to lose sodium, and water in turn follows sodium. So the thing is, you have to understand that where the diet is concerned as well, you need to have, because you could be going 10 steps forward, but then when you go home and you eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you eat for a whole week, the good that you would have put in before is now being interfered with or thrown off balance as a result of your dietary aspect. Because remember, your diet would include food on a daily basis, you know? So it means that the food that you're eating on a daily basis has to, of course, contribute in a positive manner to bring about the change that you require as per the disease or the issue that you may have.
As we speak about hydration, there's another question coming into us on WhatsApp. Reminding all listeners our WhatsApp number 306-1065 and your call 627-322-3625-2257. So the message is concerning how much water one should drink. So if I am 110 pounds, how much water should I drink daily?
Okay, so 110 pounds, that basically is your body weight divided by 2. So that's 55, and 55 ounces. $55 ounces in liters is 1 point. So that person has to drink about 1.75, 1.8 liters of water for the day. Minimal. Because you see, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Continue.
Yeah, what I was saying is that you would hear people say that you're supposed to drink 8 glasses of water. But when you really look at the practicality of it, that doesn't really make sense. You know? And then your water intake also would be affected by your occupation. So let me give you an example. If you sit down in an office for the entire day, and you should at least make the requisite amount of water for your basic aspect. So let's say, as we said, your body weight divided by 2 ounces. So even in an environment, an office environment in air condition, because that is one of the reasons a lot of persons are dehydrated. Because when you work in air condition, because of the temperature, you find it sort of tricks your body, so you don't really feel thirsty until it's too late. Because thirst is actually a 30-minute delayed reaction. You know? So if you're thirsty 4 o'clock, you were actually thirsty since 3:30. That message takes 30 minutes to reach the brain, and in order for the body to tell you, hey, you're thirsty. So the thing is, the temperature significantly affects that. So someone working in an office environment, what you're supposed to do is get a bottle, put it by your desk, and make sure you drink your requisite amount of water for the day. Now, the thing is, someone who's working outside in this hot sun, so let's say you may be a laborer or something like that, obviously your water intake would be more because you're outside and you're going to be perspiring a lot if you're a person who you do riding, you run, and that type of thing. So it's not necessarily written in stone. However, there are the basic tenets there, and then you just adjust according to your work. Let's say, for example, too quickly, you work maybe in oil and gas, or you work in a situation like you're working in a garage. So you may do painting, auto mechanics, that type of thing. Just inhaling those type of things, it means that your regime for water should be more improved or at a higher level because of the toxicity that involved in what it is you do and that type of thing. So that's just some additional information for people to understand that you have to take your particular situation into consideration when you're dealing with a lot of things, even as it relates to the intake of water.
There's another question, question about oil of oregano.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts on that are it's beneficial. It's beneficial. They have numerous research articles on it. They have about one clinical study that I'm aware of where it is antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal. So it is something, I mean, once you're able to source it for yourself or whatever the case may be, and of course, under proper directives, you can use it. One of the things too as well, let me just say a pleasant good afternoon to our social media following. Keep in mind as well, we are live on social media. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT. And on YouTube, we are Batson and Associates Trinidad. And of course, keep in mind our clinic locations and telephone numbers. We are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We are also located in Debe. That's the corner of Ramsey Trace and the SS Erin Main Road in Debe. St. James is Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. And Tobago is the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. And you can always call 222-8261. That's 222-8261. If you call that number, they'll be able to give you information as regards to the other clinic locations. And of course, you will get more information on our consultation, our various testing that we do, as it relates to different aspects of integrated medicine.
Dr. Batson, there's another question that's coming into us on WhatsApp. And let's see, good day. So someone is suffering from long COVID, having increased issues of breathing problems, I guess breathing at night,
right?
Shortness of breath during the day. Person didn't have any respiratory issues before during COVID, which was in September. The person is currently using Minerals Silver at the moment, but is worried that the breathing could deteriorate and get worse.
Okay, that's actually a very good question. Interestingly, last week's program I spoke on long COVID. What I have to say about that, anyone who has gotten COVID-19, especially if you got it more than once, you need to be very careful. We have to understand how pathology works. Pathogens are either bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoa, or worms. They fall in 5 categories. So COVID-19 is a virus. So it's a viral infection. Now, that viral infection, we realize, primarily affects 2 organ systems in the body significantly. It can affect cardiovascular, it can affect respiratory, but primarily respiratory, because a lot of people end up with long COVID. What is long COVID? Long COVID is a condition where the lungs may not be operating at its full capacity as before because of this particular pathogen. And we have dealt successfully with a number of persons with that. So what I would say, I would suggest that person at least try and see if they could get a consultation with us. And based on the consultation, we'll be able to make the necessary recommendation. If you have done any chest x-rays, if you did any blood tests as regards to ESR, which is the erythrocyte sedimentation ratio, or C-reactive protein, which is 2 common lab tests that actually show levels of inflammation in the body, then you could work with that. And then, of course, we'll make the necessary recommendations to help you. What I would expand and say is that, and this is something I have seen since COVID, during COVID, and of course, post-COVID, you have to be very careful with your lungs, especially now, because even in Trinidad and Tobago, one of the issues we have, dust, because of where we're located, the Sahara dust, and, we have a serious problem with dust in this country in general, and even the air quality. So it means if you have a lung situation, you need to guard against that, and you need to do things to optimize your immune system as regard, especially where it deals with aspects associated with the lungs. Because what we have with a lot of persons is that they may end up with long COVID, and then subsequent to that, the diagnosis is going to change because the lungs continue to deteriorate. So you could now be diagnosed with emphysema, you could be diagnosed with tuberculosis, pneumonia, even asthma. I have seen all those happen to persons post-COVID. So it's very important, to get that information. So what I'll advise you to do, for, of course, safety and proper protocol, at least call see, get a consultation. We will facilitate you, bring the necessary information, and of course, we'll be able to work from there with you or anyone who is listening to the program where that is concerned.
Dr. Batson, another message from the listener that asked about the oil of oregano.
Right.
What type of blood test would you need?
What type of blood test would you need? This is for the same person with the long COVID, or this is our next individual?
This is the oil of oregano.
Oh, because, okay, well, if they're looking at aspects associated with, so they want to know, in order for them to use that, what blood test should they do? I'm trying to understand the question.
Yeah. Yeah, I gather that's it, yeah.
Well, I mean, you need to know your basic numbers. I mean, when you're doing blood tests, they are the basic ones that you have, which would be your CBC, so which would be your blood count, where they would look at things like your hematocrit and those type of things. Then you have the kidney profile, where they would look at things like your creatinine, your bond. You have your liver aspect, where they would look at things like albumin, that type of thing. So a basic blood test or blood panel would be satisfactory to determine, where you are per se. At Batson & Associates, we do what is known as the live nutritional blood cell analysis. And I mean, as a student of anatomy and physiology, especially when I was doing my master's, one of the things, we depended on microscopes for a number of reasons, because with the microscope, you're able to see blood at its basic level. So you're able to know what is biological terrain and all those type of things. Okay, so I know our time is very close. So let me just quickly say, for any further information, feel free to give us a call, contact us. We have given our locations there. You could always add us on social media. We are Batson & Associates Limited. On Instagram, we are Batson & Associates TT. And on YouTube, we are Batson & Associates Trinidad. And keep in mind that telephone number. You could use the Shogunas number, which is head office, 2228261. That's 2228261, and you could get information as regards to the test, appointments, whatever the case may be. As we always say at Batson & Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Govind, thank you so very much for your time, sir. Let me thank the listeners of Freedom 106.5 FM. Thank you for their time, and look forward to next week, please God. God bless, and do enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Jason Batson from Batson & Associates right here on Freedom 106.5 FM. A special presentation there. Visit them today at the first floor of Money Talks building. That's 182, Southern Main Road, Montrose. That's their head office in Chaponas. You could give them a call at 222-8261 or WhatsApp. Send them your messages or book your appointment on WhatsApp 314-9975 for Batson & Associates. Keep listening as we present Talk every Thursday on Freedom 106.5 FM. And special thanks again to Batson & Associates for making that 30-minute segment possible right here on Freedom 106.5 FM. It is now 1:47. Good Thursday afternoon to you.
Good. So social media, my people, my friends. Ms. Anna says, Dr. B, what causes burning under the skin in the entire body? What can be used? Well, if you're having problems with burning usually is an indication of some levels of inflammation, also even circulation problems as well. As regards to what you should use, what I suggest, there are a number of products, vitamins, minerals that we carry at Batson & Associates. But as regards to your specific issue, it's always good to get some sort of consultation, some sort of advice. So I would suggest you give us a call, and we will be able to further assist you as regards to that, especially if you may have any problems with allergies and those type of things. It's very important that we know, so that we will ensure that the recommendations are forthcoming and that type of thing. Okay, so someone is saying hello, no notification today. What notification are you referring to?
We had 3 notifications happening. The first one was at 11 o'clock. The second notification was at 4:15, and the third notification is our 2:05 program. This has been set since yesterday evening.
Oh, so Ms. Rachel Johnson, we have notification over there, and they were there. So I don't know if you missed it, or you need to check something or reset it and that type of thing. Okay, so Ms. Florence Siratan says, tell me more about your nerve restore. Well, the thing is, nerve restore is primarily what we use as regards to dealing with nerves, as regards to dealing with stress, as regards to dealing with sleep. So it's primarily all natural. The thing is, some of the ingredient profile is what have been recommended and looked at as regards to a number of different ailments and issues. So one of the things it actually does is benefit or help individuals to sleep better. It is an adaptogen, so it actually helps the body as it relates to proper rest. It deals with your central nervous system as well. So, that's a product I tell persons, if you have problems with depression, anxiety, those type of things, it can significantly contribute. And I'm saying can simply because, you just have to be aware as to what you say, where certain vitamins and minerals and those type of things are concerned. However, a lot of persons have gotten significant results. I personally use the product and I could tell you it works. So that's something that you could really pay very close attention to. And someone is asking what to treat clogged arteries or blocked arteries. There are a number of protocols that we use for circulation. So again, you could always give us a call, give us a visit, and we'd be able to make those necessary recommendations. You could always ask them about enzyme formula. Enzymes are basic things that we learn in biology, things like protease, amylase, those type of things. And there are actually specific types that, based on the combination and how the protocol is put across, how it is outlined by us, would be able to give you results, for cleaning up your blood vessels, improving circulation, that type of thing. Okay, good. Someone's asking, can it help someone who had 2 strokes? Yes, it can. Mr. Andy Grant is saying, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Batson, again for your free information. God bless you. So thank you so very much. So it's just a matter of time. We're going to start with DJ Mamu just now on a Thursday. I just have it breathless with. Where we're going to be joining DJ Mamu on DJ Mamu Radio, TT.com. And that is going to be 2 p.m. And we're going from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where we'll be continuing our discussion about health from a natural and integrated perspective. Let me just quickly answer. Ms. Overlet McFarlane King says, COVID is when you have blood clots in your lungs. That's what I was treated for. And there's also long-term COVID. Yeah, well, the thing is, what you have to understand is that COVID is a virus. So viruses could cause undue damage to the body. And COVID is one such virus. So you could end up with a number of things, clots in your lungs, all this type of thing. What we can do for you is that we can put together a proper protocol to ensure that you no longer have that problem. There's a client who owes me a testimony. She hasn't given me the testimony as yet, but I'll get it. And the reason why she didn't give us it is because we want a certain amount of time to pass. And you would be surprised how that person's lung improved. And they had COVID like 5 times. It was really, really bad. And now she has no problem. We're just ensuring that they go into the clinic, they're doing the necessary tests so that we would actually be able to see what the lungs look like before and after. We have already done one afterwards and have seen significant improvement. But there is a period of time to go again, to again see what additional improvement was given. Okay, so with that being said, we bring an end to this live. And of course, keep in mind, we're going to start one from 2 to 3 with DJ Mamu, RadioTT.com. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.